Hello everybody, how is it going? I am Lucas and today we're going to be checking out the JST Joel Wanasek Bus Glue Collection. Hello everybody, how is it going? I am Lucas. We are going to be looking at the Joel Wanasek Bus Glue Collection. So we have bass, drums, guitars, keys, mix, and vocals. Basically what you do is you take each of these compressors and you stick them on the buses of the relative instruments, and they do a variety of different things in all of them. So let's take a look. First one we're going to be looking at is going to be the mix compressor. Basically what you do with this one is you stick it on, I have it on my mastering chain right here. So you stick it on your mastering chain, and you can actually crush it a little bit if you want. You can put the you can reduce the loudness of it right here, and you got your gain reduction meter right here, and then down here we got some cool stuff. So this plugin is modeled after Joel's Shadow Hills $9,000 150 compressor that he has, and the different steel, iron, and nickel, this is modeled after the different transformers. So steel's a bump at 50 Hertz, iron is a bump at 100, and nickel gives you a little bit of sweetness on the high end. And you also have this really cool button right here called the No Smell Time button. What this does is it's kind of like it has a bunch of different stuff in it. It has widening, some widening in it, it has some EQ in it, it has a bunch of different stuff going on in it. All I know is that it makes your mix sound pretty good. So let's take a listen to it. So the song we're going to be listening to today is going to be Loverman, and that is from my EP called Spice. Let's check it out. I actually really like what this does on my mastering chain. It kind of gives it a little bit of high end, and adds a little bit of sweetness to it, is the best way I can describe it. And I really like the No Small Time button. It kind of just, I find it makes my mix come alive, to say the truth. I have a feeling that I'm gonna be incorporating this more on my mastering chain and my mixes to come. So that is gonna be BG Mix. So let's move on to, let's do drums next in that order. Let me find my drum chain. Here it is. Basically, the way this plugin is built is it's basically built to be on the shells of all the different drums. That is how Joel uses it. He uses it on the shells. I am going to use it in a different way. I am going to stick it on my overall drum bus. The way I have everything rigged up is I have all of my, overheads, kick, toms, snare, rooms, everything, all of my different drum sections are routed to this one bus right here. So let's take a listen. Real quick, see, so the little button you have right here, it's standard and it's pumping. So standard is just your regular old standard drum sound, like a normal compressor, and pumping, it gives the transients a little bit more excitement. And basically all I'm using it for right here is I'm basically just using it as kind of like a last compressor to glue all of my different drum parts together to make them a little bit more cohesive. And I like this pumping button right here. It gives it a little bit of excitement on the transients that sound pretty cool. So after the drums, let's check out the guitars, which should be back here. Alright, yes. So I got my two EQs on my guitar. This is my rhythm guitars right here. The cool thing about this plugin, as all of them, you got the same controls layout, which are very simple. And the cool little button on here is you have one called Chug Slayer. Basically what this does is it acts like a multi-band compressor. So whenever I have a few chugs in here I'm going to try it out on. Whenever the low end from the palm mutes, whenever the low end spikes from that, what this does is it takes it and it smooths it out a little bit. So let's take a look at it. I'm just going to do the guitars by themselves. For the record, I don't really compress my guitars all that much most of the time. I'll mostly compress my clean guitars a bunch of the time, or like acoustic guitars or stuff like that. But the cool thing about this is the Chug Slayer button is really cool. I like that. I don't know if you heard it. I heard it. It takes a little bit away of that low end from your guitars, which it can be overwhelming. It's like, especially if you're down tuned or if you have 7s or 8s, that can get a bit overwhelming. And you can also dial it back to, which I don't really feel a need to right here. So I think I'm just gonna leave it on. I think this is a really cool compressor. It's very simple, and the multi-band, the Chug Slayer button right here, this is cool. That's it'd save you a lot of time. That's the whole point of these plugins, is to get in and get out super fast. So after the guitars, let's check out the keys. I have like one key part in this song right here. Let's check it out. So on the keys, BG, same thing, controls, crush loud, gain reduction, and you have this little push button right here. What this does is it pushes the synths up a little more, and it gives it a little bit of sweetness. Watch. I really like this plugin just for the simple fact that I normally use another type of compressor whenever I'm dealing with my keys, but I like this thing because it's super simple. It's super simple to do. You can get, especially like a MIDI right here. I just have some MIDI in there. You can get the volume up. You don't really have to mess with your faders very much. And this push knob, I like it. It makes everything sound super sweet. And it's also good on pianos too, because I know a lot of times when I mess with synths and songs, they tend to be a little bit quiet off the bat, and I'll throw a compressor on there. But this thing is awesome. Really like the keys. After the keys, we already touched on the mix. Let's move on to the vocals, and I skipped bass up top, so we'll come back to that. So, here we go. We are right here with the vocals. Now, I normally run JST's other great plugin, gain reduction, but let's take gain reduction off. So, let's hear the vocals in the mix first without
Maybe you're.
Alright, so I got the vocals there. Basically what this compressor does is you can shape the tone in the voice, you can put the aggro right here, it gives it a little bit of saturation so it makes it sound a little bit sweeter, and then you can also, you can crush it up and get it as loud as you want. Alright, so let's check it out.
Your lover man, your lover man. Let me be your lover man, your lover man. Let me be your lover man.
I really like the tone and the aggro right there. It saves you, it kind of combines a couple of different plugins all right in one in one little plugin right here. Plus you have a compressor that you can, you know, you can get your vocals to stick together very well. Now let's hear it in the full mix.
Let me be your lover man, your lover man. Let me be your lover man, your lover man. Let me be your lover man, your lover man. Let me be your.
I really wish I would have had BG vocals before I even before I put this song out, because I really like what it does. It really sweetens up the voice. It really makes it pop. That's the best way I can describe it. I really like it. I'm gonna be using that on my vocals from now on. I think I'm gonna see if I can't incorporate with gain reduction a little bit there. Okay, now that we have gone with the keys, we've gone with the vocals, let's hit onto everyone's favorite part, the bass. Mixing bass is kind of challenging. There's just multiple different ways that you can do it. For me, getting my bass chain together, it took a little while. So let's check out what we can do with BG bass. I'm gonna show it to you in two different ways. I'm gonna show it to you the way I originally set this up. So for my bass, I have a regular DI track, and then I have a distortion track right underneath it. I kind of quit doing this in my mixes that I do now, because I get a lot of the scratchiness. I use another plugin. I use FabFilter Saturn to get that. I'm gonna try out doing just the distortion with JW Bass for here, and I'm gonna also do it on my master bus for the bass here too. So in BG Bass, you have this little button right here, and what you can do is you can pick where you want the kick. You can pick if you want the bass below the kick, or if you want the bass above. So I normally do it to where I have the kick above. I do it to where the bass gets out of the way whenever the kick hits. That's just how I set my stuff up. And you also have a little mode right here. You have a top mode and you have a bottom mode. You can affect the top end of the bass. You can affect the bottom end of the bass whenever you're compressing it a little bit. And you're gonna have two different little markers in here you're gonna see. And you also have grit. So you have A and C is mainly made for made for metal, which it needs to be, you need to be really nasty. And you also have B is mainly set up for like rock and hard rock. So let's check it out. I'm gonna solo bass real quick.
Just let me be your lover man, your lover man. Let me be.
I really like BG bass. It adds a cool distortion. I like this right here. I like the fact that you can pick your grit and then you can move it. You have like a little bar graph right here. It's so much easier than back and forth right here. So this is what it would sound like if it was just on the distortion track. If you blend it, I have the distortion track blended against the normal clean DI. So let's do it a different way. Let's set it up to where we just have BG bass. Well, I'm going to take off Saturn and I'm going to try and do it with Saturn just with BG bass. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so this is my bass sound. This is before. And as we can see, I thought that I was going to originally go with A, but I preferred B whenever it came to the grit on my master bass here. So whenever I'm on my master bass, this is what I'm using right here. It's just a clean DI track that we're using, and I actually preferred B, which surprised me because when I kicked in A, it ducked it out too much and I didn't really like it. This plugin is really cool. I find it does a lot. It gives it some saturation, it gives you some grit, and you don't really have to waste time with it. That's what I love about these plugins, is that you're not wasting time, you're getting right to the point, right what you need to do, and I think they sound great. I really like these plugins. They're gonna make their way into my my normal mixing from now on. They're just too good. And another thing that I like about them, whenever you stick them on there, they just tend to enhance the track that's there. They don't tend to suck out any of the goodness that's in a track. Because a lot of plugins do that. The harder you push them, they tend to suck out. They'll suck out bass, or they'll suck out the magic that was in there in the track. So overall, I have to say I like these plugins a lot. I really hoped that you learned a lot with my my little overview of the plugins here. So tell me, do you like these plugins? Do you think they're cool? Can you see them being used in your mixing from now on? Which one was your favorite? Out of all of these, I think I'm gonna have to go with BG Mix. For me, I like the no small time button. It adds this sheen on the entire mix, and it makes it sound pretty tight. It sounds really good. I just like it. So let me know in the comments down below. As for me, I'm gonna have to be out. Peace.